Hello and welcome, friends. I'm back after a long hiatus, 2 weeks, 2+ weeks. MIA, leaving you in the dark. But we're back to find out more about how our heroes are going to handle Barovia and the Curse of Strahd. So, you guys know how the internet works. Like, subscribe. Comment down below something fun, interesting. Let me know what you've been doing the last couple of weeks. If you're feeling particularly bold, go ahead and hit that share button and copy the link and send that off to a friend or group that you might think that you think will appreciate the content, that kind of thing. You know how it all goes. Let's see here. I'm adding a new tool to my solo toolbox. It's an old pocket dictionary, compact dictionary. This belonged to my grandpa long ago. Let me see if I can find a... Yep, 1987. Look at that pristine condition. He did love his books, so... This is my way of kind of continuing the idea of unplugging, getting away from using the internet to look things up, that stuff. I think it's good to step away from the screens a little bit, step away from the old internet. Ironic considering I'm making this to be viewed on the internet, but take this as your sign. It's more beneficial to just turn this off and go outside than it is to sit and listen to this. But when you come back, hopefully you come back well rested with plenty of vitamin D from that sunlight from wherever you're from. Anyway, enough of my preaching. So, new tool, Granddad's old compact dictionary, straight from his library, and we'll continue our Solodark sessions. Previously, our heroes split up once again. We have Irina and Dendor in the Blue Water Inn, and we have the rest of the troop, and that is... Oh, who is that? That is Gertruda, Ismark, Marina, and Astrid, all going to the Church of St. Andril to speak with Yeska about the missing bones. Now, for those of you at home that are keeping track, this is day 2 in Vallaki. And it's coming to a close, actually. We're getting on into the evening. So, this is evening service, day 2. Go ahead and grab our character sheets. I'm sure this is going to be important. So we got... we already have them separated. Dendor and Irina are in the Blue Water Inn. And the rest of our party has gone off to see the priest, or the priest's helper in Vallaki. Go ahead and pull out everybody's favorite map here. One second, I need a drink of water. And we're back. Now, what do we got is the question. I think we'll focus in on Irina and Dendor first. I think that, you know, if I haven't harped on it long enough or often enough, I do appreciate more of a, what do you call it? slice of life style game, I suppose. I like to see, NPCs going about doing their business, complaining about the boss as they're baking bread, that sort of thing. So we're gonna go over to Dendor and Irina, and we're gonna see what that conversation is going to be about. I don't think that I have it in me to do too much, but I just want to see what we're talking about here. So we're gonna take out our Solodark pamphlet, and we'll roll some prompts here. Let's see what we got. I'm just gonna roll them right on the table. That's a little bit easier for me at the moment. Wow, a 91. Probably one of the highest rolls I've ever done. So what are they talking about? Banish. And 26. And banishing the unknown. So what does that mean? Banishing the unknown. Taking a minute to think about that. I think maybe they're talking about how they might defeat Strahd. Maybe Dendor's questioning Irina. She's been bit twice by the creature and has lived underneath the creature for some time. So maybe Dendor's kind of talking about that, asking her questions. Does Irina appreciate the conversation? How is he doing? First of all, let's go ahead and roll a constitution. That'd be silly. It'd be a long conversation to roll a constitution check. We'll do a charisma check from Dendor to see if he's small talking and everybody's having a good time, or if he's just kind of plowing in and just being kind of a goofy goober. 18 plus 0. That's not bad. That's not bad. Better than a hard DC. So I'm going to go ahead and say that his delivery is pretty good. So he's being delicate where he needs to be. He's being direct when he needs to be. He's doing great conversating with Irina and trying to gather information. So the question is, does Irina appreciate this kind of avenue of conversation? I'm going to roll at advantage on the yes-no oracle, and we got a 17, which is a yes, but. So, yes, but. I think that this will make Irina go a little bit introspective as she's discussing the long life of oppression, basically, underneath Strahd the vampire, and how he runs Barovia. So I'm going to say that Irina and Dendor's relationship is kind of a plus. I think it's leveled up just a smidge. Not anything crazy, but I think that she's kind of considering the conversation and trying to come up with ways to help people not be oppressed under Strahd, or how they would handle that, basically. So I'm not going to dive too much into the details of that, doing the voices and stuff. I'm just trying to get back into this after a 2-week hiatus, so I apologize for that. But let's go ahead and go over to the Church of St. Andrew. So there's the Blue Water Inn right here. We're just going to float our way over Vallaki, over to the church, which has gathered some people in it. And our friends, Marina, Ismark, and Astrid, are going to pull Yeska aside. And actually, I think they're going to be smarter than that. I think they're going to tell Gertruda, hey, Gertruda, you Yeska's about the same age. We need to figure out where the bones are. We need you to work your magic. No, like, you know, grumpy old adventurers or anything like that. Marina can be a little direct. Astrid's kind of motherly, so maybe Astrid will be our backup plan if Gertruda fails. But for now, we're going to go ahead and have Gertruda approach Yeska. And Ismark, Marina, and Astrid are going to tell Gertruda, like, hey, we need the location of the bones if he knows anything at all. We don't want to spook him. We don't want him to feel bad about anything. We just need him to kind of, you know, spill the beans, basically. So Gertruda will nod, and she will approach Yeska. And the two will be kind of standing off to one area, while Marina, Ismark, and Astrid are trying to look busy doing other things, kind of talking to each other. Ismark will say, do you think it is wise to send a child to do an interrogation work? And Astrid will scoff and say, she's hardly a child. She's on the cusp of adulthood. And Marina will shrug and say, I think that if Gertruda fails, we can send Astrid. She is small and unimposing, and she is good with people. Ismark will nod, and he says, if you say so. Now, let's see. Let's see how Gertruda does. First things first is we're gonna need a another Constitution check. Goodness gracious, buddy! There's too many spells in the basement down here. All right, let's see here. We need kind of a charisma score, so or like an idea basically of how this plays out. Goodness gracious! Let's go ahead and re-roll one of those. All right, so an utterly average charisma score for Gertruda. It's an 11. So let's go ahead and do a charisma check from Gertruda and see. Utterly average. 10. Let us think here. How does this play out? I'm going to ask the Oracle, does Yeska tell Gertruda anything? So let's find out. Gertruda, it was utterly average on both things, on the charisma score, which was an 11, and the charisma check, which was a 10, basically right down the even Stevens. So we're going to do a single roll on the Oracle to see is Yeska willing to talk to Gertruda? A 17. Yes, but he's concerned. I think he's concerned. He doesn't want to get in any trouble. So he kind of dances around the subject a little bit, you know, kind of says, I might have spoken about the bones in front of Milivoj. He tends the grounds. And Gertruda will be very kind, understanding, and ask where Milivoj is currently. And Yeska will respond with, well, it's getting on toward the evening, so Milivoj is probably done digging graves. He's probably at home, basically, at this point in time. So I think that Milivoj will be at home. So Yeska will kind of give Gertruda the information. It was a good one, a good roll. And after some small talk, Gertruda will kind of break off, you know, at a normal breaking point. let Yeska go do his altar boy duties, and Gertruda will return back to the party, and she'll tell them, "It seems that it's possible that Milivoj, the groundskeeper, knows a thing or two about the bones. Yeska thinks that he might have said a thing or two after Milivoj was disgruntled about the burgomaster's proclamation that all will be well." So, he gave me the address. He lives in the, not too far from the inn, actually. The group will consider it. Will they make a move on Milivoj tonight? Or will they wait until morning? That's the question. I'm going to just do an even roll, I guess. Will they wait until morning? A 5, no, but. So they are going to go ahead and approach Milivoj's house. But they're not going to go in like swords drawn kind of thing. I think that they're going to go in gently, essentially. As well as they can, anyway. I'm just reading up here. Let's see here. Question is, where are the bones currently? All right, so our group will go ahead and go to Milivoj's house. And they're going to politely knock on the door, I think. And I think they'll put, this time, Astrid in front, trying to be, put their more motherly personality at the front, in hopes that it can be of use there. Just kind of reading up on these old bones. All right, so our heroes will knock on the door, and they can hear, running and jumping behind, maybe some screams and laughter and things, and then the door will fly open, and a young girl, maybe 8 years old or so, will say, "Who are you?" And the child is actually smaller than Astrid at this point, so Astrid will, kind of crouch slightly, and she says, "My name's Astrid. Is your brother Milivoj around?" And the young child will go running into the house. "Milivoj, it's for you!" as she goes running into the next room. Milivoj comes around the corner saying something along the lines of, "I told you not to answer the door for anyone." And then he stops and looks at Astrid and the group behind them. And disgruntled, he'll say, "What do you want?" Now, do they tip their hand, or do they kind of do some talking around some stuff? I think Astrid will kind of take it in. Let's see if we can get some wisdom off of her. What is the best way to do this? And the key thing here is I don't know the best way to do this either. So what we're going to do is a wisdom check, a difficulty normal, so DC 12. And if she passes, then she'll have a better chance of convincing Milivoj to give her the information. I think that's the plan. I think that's the best I got tonight. So let's see here. A 2. I do have some tokens over here. Let's go ahead and spend a token to get that re-rolled. Let's try that again and see if I can get it to spin a little bit. A 5. My goodness, this does not want me to pass. So Astrid handles the child all wrong. The boy, he's an upper teenager kind of fella, almost a man. And she's going to fumble this a little bit, I think. So the difficulty, I think, is going to be 15 to convince him to share the information. Or to communicate with him, basically. So Astrid says something along the lines of, we just came from St. Andrew's Cathedral, and we were concerned about some relics that went missing. You wouldn't happen to know anything about those, would you? Let's see here. So, Shadowdark, we have a couple options. I can either make the difficulty harder, like I mentioned before, DC, I think 15. Let's go ahead and go to the manual here. Yep, hard DC 15. Or we could roll with disadvantage. I think they're both pretty close. I think I will go with the DC 15. I think mathematically that's a little bit more in our favor, I suppose. And we really need these bones. So let's go ahead and do Astrid's charisma check. I also wonder, as the group's standing there, is Gertruda gonna hang out, or is she gonna go like walking around? I think she'll hang out with the group. So Astrid will make her charisma check. She needs to roll a 14 or higher on this bad boy. Let's see what happens. A 10 is not gonna be it. Let's go ahead and do one more try. One more try, one luck token. Come on. Blow on the dice for good luck. A 17. There we have it, fellas. Ladies and gentlemen, a 17 on a DC 15 check. Technically an 18 with her +1 bonus to charisma. So, even handling this incorrectly, automatically getting on Milivoj's bad side. Milivoj will... his shoulders will slump, and he approaches the door and kind of ushers the party away from it and closes it behind him as he like walks out onto like the front step. And he will tell them, my brothers and sisters, we needed food for the month, and there was somebody willing to purchase the bones. Who is this someone? Ismark will say. And Milivoj will say, it was Henrik van der Voort, the coffin maker. He knew somebody who would be interested in the bones and said that they were worth some money. They were worth a lot of food for my family. Ismark sighs softly, and he will say, it is all right, we will handle it. I appreciate your candor. Here's a few gold coins for food in the future. I will do my best to look out for you. So please, if you ever need anything, look us up at the Blue Water Inn. I will do my best to help you. And the party will bow out and head back to the Blue Water Inn, not too far away. They'll enter and gather their party together. As it's kind of getting on toward evening, the sun is setting. More patrons are entering the bar. And the group will discuss their findings. And I think... Let's see here. Does the Watcher interrupt our party? Let's find out. That's a hard no. He does not. He does not. Okay, so the group's chatting. And, you know, the party basically hashes out, like, look, Henrik the coffee maker, he has the bones. He's paid Milivoj for them, and is now now has them in his possession. So, what do we do? Irina and Ismark both think that this kind of smells like Strahd's work. Like, there's probably some vampiric, I don't know what you would call it, influence behind this. So, and they will say it that much as well. And kind of speaking in hushed tones, because they don't want anybody to overhear them. So, where does that leave us? Marina will say, we encountered the one female vampire at the castle. My blade was useless against her skin. The wound healed instantly. So we're going to need something else. Ismark nods and says, silvered weapons are good against the flesh of the undead. So now it's just a matter of getting some. And Dendor will say, where can we get some silvered weapons? That is the question. Silver weapons are going to be costly. They're going to be extremely expensive. And for that, we have two options, I think. The party doesn't have a ton of gold on them, to be honest. They have like a little bit, but it's not like anything amazing. So their best option is to either make a deal with somebody who has some, or steal some from somebody who has some. And I think that's the options that they got right now. Or they go to the coffin maker and hope that there's not anything there that requires silver weapons of any kind. Just looking over there, yeah, these guys got nothing. They're level 2 and 3, and Dendor's level 3, wow. I suspect that I might have missed some notes when I was transferring these characters over. Ah well, what can you do? So our party has nothing. They're poor, they're desperate, and there's two broad options. There's the Burgomaster, who as a captain of the guard, he is well known for his dislike of Strahd. More likely than not, he would have some sort of silvered weapons. The other option is the very wealthy Lady Wachter. So, the party kind of hashes it out. Irina tells them about her encounter with Lady Wachter, reminds them of it. And the group also considers the Burgomaster. Who's more likely to give them what they need in a very short amount of time, basically? Not that they know that they're on a timer, but I know that they're on a timer. So, what do we do? I think we have a dice off. Does the party attempt to go speak to the Burgomaster, or will they opt to go to Lady Wachter? I'm going to weigh this just a little bit. I think we're going to go with a D8 roll. I'm going to say that 1 through 5 is going to be the Burgomaster. I think that he's their best bet. He has guards. He's very anti-vampire, anti-Strahd. So I think that's going to be their best option. I think 6, 7, and 8 are going to be Lady Wachter. I think there's just some desperation there. It's almost like an even split, but Lady Wachter might have something that they can use if they do her a favor, maybe. They've already kind of invited Irina over for tea. So maybe there's something there. So we'll do a dice off. 1d8, 1 through 5, the Burgomaster. And 8 on the d8. It is Lady Wachter that they've decided to go towards. So, looking around each other, they make the decision. They will approach Lady Wachter. They'll take her up on tea time tomorrow, and they'll see what they can do, basically. I think that's it. I think that's all they got. So, knowing this, our party will go to bed. Now, the question is, does our watcher and do the the people who run the Blue Water Inn, do they overhear this information? Let's find out. Red is going to be the Were Ravens. All right, so they managed to keep it secret. Neither party overhears their exact plan. They can look and they can see that the party is concerned, a little harried, and that's where they'll leave it. So, our party will go up to bed. Does Strahd intervene tonight? Does he show his face? I'm going to roll advantage. I still need to come up with a good mechanic of like some sort of timer or something to kind of keep track of when Strahd will kind of show his face. Some kind of weighted die roll over time. Still haven't figured that out, so if you have any ideas, go ahead and let me know. I'd love to hear it. I'd love to implement something. And let's see. I'm going to roll advantage because it's been a minute since Strahd has bothered the party. An 18 is a yes. So, our group splits. The women go to their room, the men go to theirs. They get ready for bed and fall asleep. Now, how does Strahd intervene? What does he do? How does he do it? I think he knows where Irina is. He still wants Irina, so I think that's where he'll end up. Just trying to think of Vampire's abilities out here. Let's go ahead and consult his stat block. See if that gives us any clues whatsoever as to any tactics he might use. Obviously with Shadowdark, you don't want to rely on the stat block, but I don't want to cheat too bad. I want to see what I can come up with here based off of this. Excuse me. He can summon things. He has the same spellcasting ability as the Archmage. So let's take a look at the Archmage. Let's see what kind of spell casting that guy's got. Page 197, allegedly. Archmage, so Death Bolt, Enervate, Fire Blast, Float, Mithril Skin, Void Step. Wow, Void Step is pretty powerful. Alright. The night goes on. The party is sleeping. The fog increases in density, blocking out more and more light as it descends on the village of Vallaki. It almost hits the wooden fence around Vallaki, and almost seems to stay there for just a moment before it presses through the gates and kind of floats over the actual wall itself and begins to flood the street, moving very fast as people are pretending with their fake joy to celebrate the upcoming celebration that's also tomorrow. So our heroes unbeknownst to them, they're totally asleep. A dark shadow crosses the window of their bedrooms. Obviously, their bedroom is, or I shouldn't say obviously, but if you recall, their bedroom is on the 2nd floor. So somehow the shadow is high up on the 2nd floor, and the latch on the window just slowly squeaks open, and the windows swing open, and the fog kind of pours in, and in steps a tall man in a cape. He seems to glide over to Irina's bed and crouches over her form. And we'll end it there, folks. Thanks again for being here. I apologize for being MIA for so long. It's a long couple of weeks. But, as always, thanks for being here. I appreciate it. And it's a pretty tough world out there, so good luck. Be kind. And we will see you next time. And I will endeavor to make it sooner rather than later. See ya.